What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another TLEV Media video. I'm here at Universal Studios Hollywood as we have a big Halloween Horror Nights construction update. We also need to talk about the scare zones as there's a potential Terrifier scare zone this year. So if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And why don't you join me on this extraordinary adventure?
We are back. We have made it through security. We've got tons to talk about for an update for Halloween Horror Nights 2025. We got to talk about some of the rumored scare zones for this year. We actually have 3. So we got to talk about those. And of course, a nice construction update. So let's get into the park. All right. So first thing we got to do is look and see how the merch is doing today. Size wise for Five Nights at Freddy's, we have extra small, medium, large, XL and triple XL. So there's actually a fair amount. All the pieces are here. We also have a bunch of stained glass panels up right now. Let's see what we got going on for the YS6 shirt. We have smalls, medium, large, XL, but there's no triple XL. So that is unfortunate. But they are restocking, maybe even daily or every other day, because I was literally here, 3 days ago or so, and they've updated quite a lot. So they know it's going to sell out quick. Still, if you want the preview merch, I would grab it sooner than later. There will probably be a major restock when it comes down to when they launch all the other merch. But if you want this stuff now, get it now, especially these pieces. But yeah, it's looking fine in Hollywood. I know in Orlando that it's actually selling out pretty quick in Orlando. So here we're doing just fine. And as we walk through the park, we're actually walking through one of the first scare zones. Unfortunately, nothing's up yet. No truss work, no carts are up yet. So detailing hasn't even started. However, there are rumors and speculations what's going to be going in this location, and we need to talk about it because it's something very interesting. So we've got a bit of an update for these scare zones that are going to be coming to Halloween Horror Nights in Hollywood. Now, yes, they haven't been announced yet. However, we do have a bit of a speculation map from HN Nightmares. This was an update that was done a few weeks ago, which now shows 3 symbols for 3 different scare zones. Now, the first one we need to talk about is the one for New York Street. This is where the beginning of the scare zones are going to be. This is where the ceremony is going to take place. And the symbol in this area is a bit interesting. It does look like a mask of some sort. My first guess was that this looked a lot like the spirits and demons from the East, which was the scare zones that we had back in 2018, honestly. And it was such a fun scare zone. Now, the mask looks a lot like the dragon that was in this scare zone. He was kind of like the main scare actor that kind of just led all over the place. He had a bit of a knife and he would just go at people, and he did a really phenomenal job. I know a lot of people really enjoyed this scare zone, that they even hoped that it would become a house. I was one of those people. Now, I do think it is a bit of a stretch to think that they would bring back that scare zone. I don't know how many times out here in Hollywood that they've brought back a scare zone. Ideas wise, there's been maybe connections of stuff. I know Toys has kind of been done multiple times, but I really can't think of any other scare zones that has been done more than once. Now, another theory is that this is a clown mask. Now, there is a specific mask company that Halloween Horror Nights here in Hollywood works with, and they kind of leaked a clown mask that will be used. They said they were shipping it off to Universal Studios, and we know that it's being shipped out here to Hollywood. That's a really interesting looking clown mask. It's got a pretty big grin, blue hair, and it really looks like something one of the chainsaw chasers would wear. Now, my only guess is that this could be the one that's potentially going in the New York Street scare zone, because these 2 faces are quite similar. Now, if there is going to be a clown scare zone, I would think this is the best way to incorporate Art the Clown into a scare zone. Could you imagine if we were to have a Terrifier scare zone? Now, I know that in the films that we don't really see Art the Clown hanging out with other clowns of any sorts. That's just not the vibe of the films. However, it already sounds like that our house out here in Hollywood is not going to be following the movies. It's going to be its own thing. So if it's its own thing, why not have it in its own scare zone? I don't know. I could be throwing some crazy theories out there. Again, these are just speculations, but I feel like Art the Clown cannot just be used for a house. I feel like a scare zone would be perfect for him also.
So something cool that is actually going to be happening is that for the Fallout house, which is right here, which can't really see any detailing yet, for past members appreciation days that are coming up on August 20th, you will be able to book a lights on tour for Fallout, and it's pretty cool. I mean, they did that, if I remember, oh my god, they did that for Stranger Things. I don't know if they did it last year. They might have done it last year. I think they did, yes, for A Quiet Place. They did it for A Quiet Place last year. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comment section down below. But yes, Fallout will be, again, a lights on tour for past members. You got to make sure you go on the website, you RSVP for the spot. There are multiple spots. There's going to be a bunch of time slots also. So if you really want to do it, it's pretty cool to be able to see everything. I think especially with Fallout's going to be very detailed with all of the mechs. If you want to see the bear in person, when it's not like all dark and more made for the Horror Nights ambiance, but to see everything with the lights on it's quite different. So make sure to book that August 20th. I don't remember what time it goes out, but August 20th is that day for past members. All right, we stopped by the Parisian Courtyard Monsters 3, and the ofrendas are still filled with a couple of little things. The dolls on the right side are really creepy, I'm not gonna lie, but not much has changed. But we can talk a little bit about the scare zone located next to it and what it's currently kind of being rumored to be.
Now let's talk about the one that's going to be in French Street. This one we've kind of talked about in previous videos. We do see that there seems to be a Day of the Dead dancer as the picture, and if that is the case for the scare zone, I wouldn't be surprised if we see something kind of like the Momias that we had a couple years back. Frankly, I believe it was for the first Monstros house that we had the Momias scare zone, and there was a lot of scare actors that were wearing dresses and were dancing around. But again, this goes back to that idea that I don't think we get repeats as scare zones. So there might be that same feel, we might see the same dresses, but more following a Dias de los Muertos celebration in this scare zone.
It's very cool to see that we have lettering going on the current Hollywood drift. As you can see now, it says Furious on the wall. It's kind of cool. It looks like they're marking it with chalk and everything. So it's gonna be Fast and Furious up there, and then Hollywood drift I would think is towards the bottom, but very cool to see. This is something I've never seen done before, and it's kind of cool to see that it's being done out in the public. As you can see right now, they are working on the drift that goes right underneath the Furious. So very cool. First marking, and then I'm assuming, it's gonna be a paint job, I would assume. So can't wait to see it all completed. All right, let's go get on the studio tour because we have a bit of an update. The walls are supposedly down for Scarecrow the Reaping. So now we can see, actually it's not Scarecrow the Reaping, sorry, Scarecrow, music by Slash. And now we can see the entire facade. And I really hope we'll be able to drive by Bates Motel and all that, because it's been closed off for a little bit since there is filming going on for the rumored filming location for the Odyssey, for the Christopher Nolan film. So we'll see if they're filming today. Hopefully we'll be able to drive by Bates Motel. And yeah, let's go get that little construction update. Very loud over here, but as you can see, we're bringing in some trees. It's pretty cool. It's gonna give us like, well, it's gonna give us that Hollywood, LA feel, you know, up in like Beverly Hills. So pretty cool to see that. But man, it is loud over here. I do not know what they're moving. I would assume this is some gravel that's being moved up to this upper level for the line queue area. At least that's what it sounds like. It sounds like little gravel pieces. But yeah, beautiful stuff going on today for sure. So not much has changed with the Jason Universe house. So you can get a better look now at the little campfire that's set up on the side. Didn't notice that last time. There was kind of a bit of a coverage last time, but what a relief is to see how cleared up it is over here by that hillside project. So we will be having our line queue probably in this vicinity, in this location over here. Kind of like what we've seen for the past, what is it, 2 years now? With the facades being on this side of the maze itself for Mummy Queue. So that's a relief to see that. But yeah, not much has changed with this. Honestly, I think the next things will be is just bringing in the lighting structures, the truss works, all that kind of stuff. Because as you can see, the boxes that were on the left side have been moved. Details are already going in. All like the little things are already going into the house itself. So really, this one is kind of reaching its end of construction and reaching more the time for testing and all the smaller things. All right, here's what we got going on for the posters down here by the Mummy Ride. We've got Bad Guys 2 right there, Nobody 2, Gabby's Dollhouse, the movie, and Black Phone 2. So once again, it seems like the year of sequels. And honestly, we must be seeing this, right? For the Terror Tram, we have to be seeing Black Phone 2, right? I mean, I feel like it'd be a huge miss if they don't use it. All right, we've come down to the lower lot because we are supposed to be having, or it's rumored, to have a scare zone down here, which has been quite some time since we've had one. So let's talk about that.
And then we have the lower lot. We're actually going to have a scare zone in the lower lot, which has been quite a while since we've had something down there. Now, currently, the silhouette for this scare zone looks to be some kind of guy with a beard, a big wizard hat, and a pipe to smoke. Now, it could mean that we're gonna have something like sorcerers in the lower lot, but I think it would be really cool if we have a dark fairy tales scare zone. I wouldn't put it past it if we were to have fairy tales instead of an S at the end, it'll be a Z, and then we'll have all different kind of fairy tale characters. And I think it could be a really awesome scare zone. Maybe it's even a Dungeons and Dragons scare zone, which I don't really think it'll be that option. However, we know that we have already seen Dungeons and Dragons in place in the park for FanFest nights. So hey, maybe there'll be a Dungeons and Dragons scare zone. But again, this is all speculations going on right now. I think out of the 3 scare zones, I think this fairy tale one would be the strongest. What I am concerned about is that it looks like the crows won't be returning. The Murder of Crows, we know, are going to Orlando, and I'm a little worried that we will not be seeing them this year. They've kind of just become icons in themselves for Hollywood, and if we don't have them for a year, I think a lot of people are going to be sad. So I'm gonna just start saying justice for crows. Leave that in the comment section down below if you agree. I want the crows, the Murder of Crows, to stay in Hollywood. We need them still at the event.
We got some newer Universe stuff coming in for Jaws to celebrate its 50th. Got this long sleeve right here. Pretty cool looking Jaws, very tiki themed a little bit. Here's the back of it right here, so kind of cool to see this. But again, it is Universe, so let's see the price. $59. Oh man. And then we also have a new Universe button up right here. It says Amity Islands, got like, it's like a doodle kind of design for it. $59 also for that. This, I believe, has been here for a little bit. This one I haven't seen, the Visit Amity Island shirt. This one is just like a normal Universal shirt. So this one, $37. But these two are the newest. And a bit pricey.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it for today's video. I know it's a bit of a shorter one, but if you enjoyed today's video and you're not subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe as we have a lot of Halloween Horror Nights updates coming along. We still have a house announcement, a terror tram to be announced, and of course the scare zones. So a lot of news is still coming out, and we're going to keep you guys up to date. So make sure to subscribe. And if you're already subscribed, make sure to hit that like button and make sure you're following our social medias as we are updating all of those. It is TLEV Media all across the board. Everything's in those links in the description down below. With all of that being said, my name is Mr. E, and I'll see you guys on the next extraordinary adventure.